Welcome to the Barker Podcast Collection.
Welcome to the Not Watching Podcast. My name's Rob Howard, and this week I'm joined by
Iain Bruce
and Marcus Hurley.
A couple of weeks ago, we were talking about the night of, or you were, Iain, and I've managed to catch up on this now because I was in America. It's just started on Sky Atlantic in the UK.
Oh, excellent. Okay, cool. I might watch it again then.
So, yeah. But yeah, I thought it was really good. I loved how in-depth it was. Like the first episode is kind of feature length and kind of shows you this crime happening with particular emphasis on elements that, bits of evidence that happen, and events that occur. It's almost like you're watching a court drama, but you're seeing the events play out in front of you. And I don't think I shouted at the telly, "You're fucked," so many times.
Yes. To be very clear, there have been probably a gazillion TV series that have done this before, and there was indeed an English TV series upon which this is based. So the whole, it's a crime drama, and you're seeing how it panned out to start with. That's not a new thing. The best example I could think of was one in early to mid '90s called Murder One, which had Daniel Benzali as a bald lawyer dealing with this crime, and it twisted and turned, and it was kind of like an event thing. It felt like an event thing at the time. It was discussed everywhere, and everybody watched it, tuned in eagerly the next week. It was great.
Like Broadchurch sort of thing.
Yes, but even in the '90s, they had been done before, so it's not it's not a new thing. But as I suggested a while ago, next week, it's really the way it's filmed and the acting that sets this apart. Even if you took the crime away, I would want to know about these people. So the crime is like a bonus. That's not a nice thing to say, but it's a MacGuffin. It's not the main. It's really about the people. So, as the best of these things are.
Yeah, John Turturro's lawyer character. It's John Stone, I think his character's name. It's really cool. Got some very amusing quirks to do with his feet. He's got some kind of horrible eczema situation, and over the course of the series is like seeking out different remedies, and that there's a lot of humour to be mined from that.
It's perhaps not the best place to source if you have foot issues. This is perhaps not the place to think, I'll try that then. Yeah. But
and also the main protagonist or perpetrator / victim, played by Riz Ahmed, who's about to show up in lots of films and stuff.
Rogue One.
Yeah, he's totally in that. He's very good. His sort of transformation through the series is interesting, and I think that's kind of what the show's really about. Almost is kind of what the criminal justice system can do to the accused.
Well, it's not even. It's more. It's the waiting for trial system, isn't it? I know that's. Yeah. I think that's what you meant, but specifically, it's while you're waiting for trial in a prison full of people who are never going to leave prison. What do you become?
Absolutely, and it's also not especially clear how long a period of time it's set over. I'm guessing it must be like a year or something, because like just the transformation just seems very extreme for him. I think. Yeah,
otherwise, Captain America. If you don't put a few months in there, it's a bit puny little guy. Not puny little guy. Spoilers.
Yeah, I'm trying to dance around most of the bits.
The other thing I would say was about him. He's appeared on a number of US chat shows, which the best bits of which you can certainly pick up on YouTube. And he sounds like a really interesting, passionate person. So I'm keen to see what he does next. I'll forgive him for Jason Bourne, obviously. We have to do stuff to pay the rent sometimes. And he was okay. To be honest, he was okay in that.
all right with what he was given.
That's a politically correct thing to say. But I'm keen to see what he does next.
Yeah.
Well,
Very
Rogue
cool.
One, of course. Very keen to see that, but yeah.
Yeah, definitely. So it's definitely one to check out. I mean, I don't watch a lot of crime stuff, but I was really gripped by this. And some excellent casting. Lots of people from other HBO shows pop up. Especially, there was a special treat in episode 3 when he got to prison and a certain someone from a couple of well-known shows turns up and takes him under his wing, which was very cool. So that's The Night Of, and it's on Sky Atlantic now for the next 8 weeks or so. Cool. Check it out. Marcus, you've been watching something on... Is it on Netflix?
Yeah, it's on Netflix. I think it's all of it on there. They've done a whole series dump, as they usually do with their Netflix. I think it's a Netflix exclusive as well. I'm not sure.
I think it is over here. I think season 2 has just started in the States, and we've got season 1 now.
Anyway, the show's called Zoo, and it sounds really boring. But the premise of it, it's that it seems like an M. Night Shyamalan premise in which suddenly animals are going batshit and attacking people. But we're talking in serious cognitive capacity levels of batshit, as in like lions setting traps and stuff. And
wow.
And everything's just, I mean, I've only just got to the point where they've begun to work out why this might be happening. But yeah, it's
a network
really
thing,
cool.
isn't it? Is it a network thing? Or
I think it might be. It's reminiscent of The Strain, so I'm hoping it doesn't go as bad as that.
But The Strain's still going, though.
I know.
Going,
I haven't caught
Yeah.
Series 3, but that has wound down. I'm hoping this stays with a strong story all the way through and doesn't become one of those, 26 episodes for 26 episodes' sake.
Yeah.
I haven't actually looked to see how many episodes there are because we've just been going through it. I think we're on the 4th one now.
It's on one of the streamers, isn't it? Isn't it on?
Yeah, it was on
Netflix. Or yeah.
It's definitely. I definitely recommend it. It starts in Africa, and you think it's going to be set in either like a zoo or a game park, but it cuts to it in the city, and it just shows it's all going crazy all over. And it's not just wild animals and cats and dogs.
Is it
bats and various other creatures?
I like the premise, but
the delivery is very, I would say, a bit network. It's not as brutal as you would imagine.
So,
is
it? Do you think it's going to end up as The Walking Dead with animals? Not to that degree of horrificness, but
it feels
is that what they're trying to do?
Yeah, it feels that way. They've already gathered together into a team. There's already been one person to bring them together for the greater good or whatever. There is that whole, the need to continue a story as a group. Otherwise, if you have loads of people and it's not Game of Thrones, people get bored. But I don't know. It feels as though it's quite interesting. I'm liking where it's going, even though it does like have the cutaways and various bits and pieces, and you don't need to see someone actually getting their head torn off. You know it's happening.
Have they found a farm or a deserted prison yet? Is that?
Oh, there is a prison,
okay.
But it's not what you expect. I was quite funny. I was laughing. I was thinking, it feels like looking. Oh no, prison. Oh, and then I was like, oh, that's clever. But there is this. I don't know how much to give away because I really want you guys to go and see it. I don't want to, if you get a chance. But
I'd like to give it a go, and I don't really want to do any spoilers. But can I ask, are the effects particularly shite, or are they using stock animal footage for attacks? Like if there was a version of the 70s.
They're not actually using. Well, let's put it this way: they managed to put a lion hopping down from on top of a sort of dumpster-style wall. And I don't see any stock footage for that in the city.
Oh, okay.
There are some bits where you look at it and you kind of go, oh, that's a little bit ropey. Not Sharknado levels of ropiness. I know nowadays their budget's increasing.
So not classic is what you're saying?
Not classic. I would say it's a nice somewhere in between. You would expect it to be on TV. But I don't think it takes too much away from it. Because, the premise of it is animals go crazy attacking humans. Which kind of sucked me in. I mean, it's just...
We've all been to Romford, mate. It's fine.
It is Romford.
Is it fully like post-apocalyptic?
No,
or is it just
that's
sort
the whole beauty of it. It's now.
Right.
It's completely just now.
Fear the Walking Dead version, not the Walking Dead version.
Fear the Walking Monkeys.
I've never seen a show make a Jack Russell Terrier look so evil.
So it's all animals.
You
then.
don't live with one.
So,
but not even in the but it's not just animals. It's like I said, I'm not going to give away the big thing that they just revealed, but it's behaviour as well. So it's not just like rabid going attacking people, hordes of, I don't know, lions roaming down Romford High Street, just taking out tanned corpses left, right and centre. And it's not set in England. No, I keep mentioning Romford. But it's set all over the world, apparently.
Oh, cool.
Oh, okay.
But yeah,
they just wrapped their second season on CBS in the States.
Nice.
But it's coming back for a third.
Oh, cool.
So,
It's good that it's gone to Netflix so quick. Is that right?
Yeah,
it's kind of
probably.
quick, isn't it?
yeah, well, I guess they're at a point now where it's an ongoing show, so Netflix would be interested in that, especially if CBS are stumping up the cash for a third season. That's great for them, in terms of quantity. I've watched something else on Netflix. It was the first 6 episodes of The Get Down, which is the new Baz Luhrmann show. I say the new Baz Luhrmann show. This is the first one he's done. But it's had a similar amount of money spent on it as other episodes. Apparently $10 million per episode is on this.
Jesus.
So they've only put the first 6 up. It's basically, it charts the beginning of hip hop in the Bronx in the 1970s, and if you've seen anything that Baz Luhrmann's done before, like Moulin Rouge, Australia, Romeo and Juliet, he's definitely got that kind of manic editing style where it's very it's almost cartoony in a way. He uses lots of real sets with CG, and also in this case a lot of stock footage. So you'll see they'll use actual B-roll of 1970s as the background as they're driving along. It's kind of a bit hokey in a way, but anyway, so you've got, on one hand, you basically got this group of kids that are into spraying graffiti, and they get into this thing called the Get Down, which is, Grandmaster Flash is a character in it, and he's almost like Gandalf, teaching them the way of the decks and stuff. So they get into that, and how they're mixing records and stuff. And then meanwhile, you've also got this character called Mylene, who's played by Harrison F. Guardiola, and her voice is incredible. I was watching some footage of her on Instagram. She's the real deal, and may well end up being a big star in years to come. Her voice is amazing, and there are some incredible scenes where she's full on crooning, and then it cuts to the rapper guys rapping, and they end up even incorporating part of her song into their rap. And yeah, it's really cool. So all these kids are doing all this crazy shit, and then meanwhile you've got Jimmy Smits, who's playing like a kind of
Jimmy Smits.
Yeah, okay. I thought you'd be interested in this.
Okay.
He's playing kind of like he's playing like a kind of governor type chap. He's like a property developer, and he's the uncle of the Mylene character, and her father is a reverend played by Giancarlo Esposito, Gus from Breaking Bad.
Oh, nice. Okay.
And he's being like a real no daughter of mine is going to sing disco music. You'll sing the gospel and nothing else. And so there's all that going on. But it's all really surreal, and it's quite violent. It's quite amazing. I text my dad and said, "Oh, you have to watch this. I know you're not into rap, but you like music enough that you will appreciate it." And he came back to me the next week and went, "Yeah, it was amazing. Loved it." So
Excellent.
It's just the first 6 episodes up now. There's going to be another 6 this year. And I've noticed Netflix are doing this. They're doing a similar thing with Black Mirror, where I think the weight of the production just cannot support an extended run of episodes. They're kind of going for quality over quantity, which is cool, Yeah, I don't mind. But yeah, it didn't last me a week because I was so into it. But yeah, recommended. Definitely one of the best things I've seen this year.
I have something, if we don't mind discussing some British terrestrial TV that may or may not be available for the rest of the world.
No, we can always rely on you for some good Brit TV.
I've been watching Great British Bake Off. No, I'm not going to. Let's not discuss that here.
We've covered Top Gear.
Yes, it may or may not be quite the same. On Channel 4 in the UK, there is a TV series, a comedy series, a sitcom called Man Down, which stars the outstandingly hilarious Greg Davis as a teacher who is in his mid-40s. He lives with his parents. I saw a clip of this. Well, he doesn't live with his parents. He lives in an annex to his parents' house, and it is basically a sitcom version of stories he has told during his stand-up, which actually happened to him when he was a teacher. And I find it to be... I love him. I think he's excellent. If you've not seen his stand-up shows, they're well worth purchasing on the Amazon. And the only reason I bring it up is it's had a couple of cameos in there. Bear with me. I need to check the name of one of them. He normally plays a Russian in Bond movies, and I thought, well, that can't be him. This is a British TV thing. What's going on with that?
This is the guy who was the teacher in Betweeners. Did you already say that?
I haven't said that.
But he was, wasn't he?
He certainly was, yes.
Because he was actually a teacher.
Yeah, so
I caught a clip of this. I caught a clip of this show where he's on a bus or something, and he's
it's really well worth a look. Roisin Connerty's in it, who's an Irish comedian who's doing a lot of work in the UK, and it's really just the three. It's really just the two of them. Rick Mayall played his dad for the first season. Rick Mayall is a massive, big English comedian who sadly passed away a couple of years ago. And there's other famous British. Tony Robinson plays his mum's new lover in the last season. And it's only half an hour. It's very short. But I really like him, and everybody seems to be having a great time. So it's not extras. They don't have a guest star of the week. But in this season, they've had Stephen Burkoff has been playing the caretaker at the school that he works at. He's been playing this fucking nuts crazy Eastern European caretaker who will just, a lady teacher drops a sweet and he says, basically, if you do that again, I will kill you, in a funny, hilarious, creepy kind of way. But this is a spoiler, and you'll have probably forgotten by the time you get there if you start watching it, but Mark fucking Hamill turned up in the last episode of Series 3, and just the most bizarre cameo he could ever have done. And I was just speechless. What the fuck was he doing in there? But it was hilarious. And it's just good fun. There is quite a lot of good British TV, but we like to keep it global. But I think this may be available on some of the streaming services at some point, and it's definitely worth a look. Cool. If I could just throw another one in while I remember
I just wanted to say, it's the way you say it's like his stand-up played out. That's kind of quite similar to like the Louis C.K. method, and by extension the Maria Bamford, like Lady Dynamite show I talked about on here a few weeks back. No, and I've got plenty of time for that kind of thing. So it's a really, you could watch. There's only 6 or 7 episodes per season. It's really very quick. All right, I'll just quickly mention one more TV thing. It's season 2 of Narcos. I won't spoil this. And all I will say, and it's been heavily publicised, this has. Season 1 was the rise of Pablo Escobar. Season 2 is his downfall. And if you have seen the film Downfall, which charts the last days of Adolf Hitler, there's a lot of similarities to draw from that. There are sequences in this season where there will probably be memes
I was going to ask,
on the internet.
Is he going to turn up?
Yeah, of him going, fuck. Some of the action sequences in this are incredible, because basically the kind of way it works is Pablo basically owns Colombia, And if he, for whatever reason, gets backed into a corner, it gets really, really bad because bombs go off everywhere. He'll just go completely bonkers and just start blowing the fuck out of shit. And there's been some... the escalation of it is immense. As he is, like, penned in further and further, he's just becoming more and more dangerous. And it's... And the creators of the show have said, because it's just incidentally been renewed for 2 more, and right now we're seeing the rise of another cartel called Los Peles, and they're just lunatics. They'll like go into places and rearrange bodies in horrible poses. It's absolutely sick and macabre.
Yeah.
Some of the shit in this,
The cartels do make ISIS look like sweet little puppies sometimes.
Yeah, they're
It's
just
just
reveling
fucking
it.
obscene. Yeah.
It is, and yeah, a lot of the show is in subtitles. There's a narration from one of the DEA guys who kind of does a bit of a Goodfellas type monologue at the beginning of each episode. But yeah, it's very much like about the cartels, and there's all the rough edges exposed. And it's incredibly entertaining in a sort of morbid way, just watching this horror unfold, really. But yeah, I've nearly done season 2.
Okay.
It started on Friday, and I've only got 3 left.
Is it a laugh a minute TV series, or is it just horrific all the way through? Does it have any first date type qualities?
No, it's not really. I mean,
Okay.
it is entertaining. I mean, I just see how you go with it if you're thinking of like the wife watching it or anything. I'd just see how you go, because she might be equally fascinated by the horror. Who knows? I don't know.
If
I don't know your wife well enough.
No.
If it sounds horrific, I think Suze will love it.
Suze will love it. Yeah, it's worse than any horror film I've seen this year.
Holy balls! Right. Okay.
We'll get into that later. I mean, it's like it's a crime thing, but it's weird because it shows you it all so much from the perspective. But in kind of Goodfellas and stuff like that, you could kind of deal with it because it was only like a couple of hours, whereas this is like 10 hours, well 20 now with both seasons combined, and it does go into it in quite excruciating detail. You're just waiting for the next, like, it sort of constantly outdoes itself.
Wow.
To remain continually shocking, and you're watching it all happen, and it's like, oh god, this is just, what the hell is going to go wrong now? Like, but some of the action, like when they're storming these compounds and stuff, you'll follow a guy, and then he'll die, and then you'll follow the guy that shot him, and then he'll die,
cool.
and then you'll follow the guy, and then you're following the people running away, and it's all done so matter of fact and beautiful, like one shots, all done in like
nice.
this one big house invasion that was in a recent episode.
Comparable with the one shot in the first season of True Detective?
Not as long and audacious, but
Okay.
done in a similar way.
It still works. Okay.
Still works
Jesus,
really well.
cool.
Yeah.
All right. So.
And it's all shot on location, I think. There's brilliant wide shots of these favelas in Colombia,
Nice.
and there's lots of on rooftop chases and stuff going on. Yeah, no expense spared. I'm sure they spent quite a lot of money on it, and will continue to do so. Although it'll be interesting to see what the aftermath of this season will be, and whether they've got enough there to because it has to be said, the guy who plays Pablo Escobar, whose name I will
Wagnamura?
conjure
Is that
up.
him?
Yeah, that guy.
Oh, okay, good.
He even let it go on Jimmy Kimmel that like he wasn't doing anymore, but he
Oops.
is fucking fantastic. He is the best like gangster type TV character since Tony Soprano, in my opinion.
Okay.
Absolutely brilliant.
And you mentioned that some of it's subtitled. Does it just follow the Colombians, or are there Americans involved as well, or what's the?
Yeah, you've got the DEA agents, you've got the
Okay.
actual Colombian police, the president, and there's a CIA guy in there now who's getting in the mix and creating all kinds of crazy shit, because they're making alliances with cartels to try and force other cartels out.
Yep.
So there's layers and layers to it, and plenty to hook onto. Yeah, I don't want to say too much more.
Okay.
But it's definitely like top tier TV, definitely.
I think I'm sold on that.
Yeah.
Let's hurry so
Yeah.
I can go and watch that.
We've been putting it off, but it keeps popping up every time we look at it. Every time we put Netflix on, it's just
Yeah.
there. And we're like, we need
well,
to
the
see
new
this.
season's just started, so or it's just been released, so yeah, it's all over the place right now.
Awesome.
This has been the Not Watching Podcast in partnership with notlistening.co.uk, where you can also hear myself and Iain talk about video games and virtual reality on the Not Playing Podcast, and Adam, Ash and Will talk about all manner of funny things on the Not Listening Podcast. The episodes are coming soon, I have been informed. You can email us at notwatchingpodcast@gmail.com, or you can tweet at or follow us on Twitter at notwatchingpod. You can find the show notes for this show at notlistening.co.uk, and if you're listening to us on iTunes, then please do give us a review. Anyway, that's all for now. Thanks for listening. See ya.
Bye bye.
Fairly well, friends.